The beginning of Groundhog's Day wasn't all about a silly day about a groundhog seeing his shadow. There's a lot more to it. So the first thing is about calendars and candles, which is often called Candlemas. It is a Christian holiday to honor Mary 40 days after giving birth to Jesus. And it also celebrates the return of the sun after a long dark winter. Candles were lit and blessed on February 2nd. Why, you may ask, on February 2nd? Because this is the date or the day when it is halfway mark between the winter solstice and the spring equinox. The second thing I have is, among the Celts, February 2nd is a time of the embolic, which is the time that is observed in anticipation of the farm animals starting to be more interested in one another. Let's just say interested in mating. And it also is a time of anticipation of planting crops. Embolic is also a feast day of the goddess Brigid, a fire goddess representing fertility and new hope. And the third thing is that February 2nd also divides the Roman calendar into eighths, which is the last month of the Roman calendar. And the story of Februaria was the Roman festival of purification. It was celebrated through the whole month of February. It was a time before their new year to begin to atone for their wrongs and cleanse their spirits and prepare for the year to come. It was named after the god Februs, the god of the dead. In Roman culture and era, the Romans were so focused on war and dedicated on fighting and winning land from other people that in Februaria was a yearly pause to honor the dead and atone for the wrongs in such a violent society. Now, Februaria is the name of the celebration or the festival. And number 4 I have, let's talk about groundhog and spirituality now. The first thing I have is during the Middle Ages, the badger and the bear also interrupted their hibernation and appear on February 2nd, just as the groundhogs. And the German immigrants that came to America carried the tradition from the badger awakening on February 2nd, the break of winter into spring. And it was adopted then when, like I said, when they came to America and they changed the badger to the groundhog. And that's how Groundhog's Day began. And groundhogs are related to the squirrel family. Spirituality of the groundhog as a totem animal is the mystery of death and dying. Because in the groundhog's hibernation, their body temperature will drop from 96 degrees to 40 degrees. The respiration slows to 1 beat per minute, and the heartbeat plunges from 110 beats per minute to about 4 or 5 beats. They achieve a state of unconsciousness and awaken on February 2nd. Thus, the hibernation is the season of power. If your totem animal is the groundhog, you will have the opportunity to explore deeper states of consciousness and also a time to open fully in dream time. More lucid dreams, and when the groundhog shows up, clarity and power will be amplified and bring knowledge to you as well from your dreams. Alright, now if you would like to honor the month of February or February 2nd, you can do 3 things I have listed here. You can light a candle and spend time in reflection to consider your losses or grief and pay homage to anyone that has passed within the year. The second thing you could do would be still with your candle and consider atonement. What do you regret this year? What would you like to do better next time? And make your apologies into the fire's flame. And number 3, You can light a candle and pass your hand over the flame and focus on purifying yourself. It's much easier than building a fire and leaping over it as some ancient people used to do in February. And there is one legend that I have, and that legend is how the groundhog got its short tail, and it comes from the Cherokee Nation. The groundhog was caught by a pack of 7 wolves. The groundhog tricked them by asking if he could sing them a song so that they could learn to dance. And as the groundhog danced and sang, he got closer and closer to his burrow. And the wolves weren't paying attention. They were having a great time, dancing around and whatnot. And then, all of a sudden, the groundhog jumped for it because he had danced away and sang closer and closer to his burrow. And when he jumped for it, the one wolf caught it by its tail, causing it to break off. And ever since, the tail has been short. And also, the Cherokee actually have a dance named after this legend. Alright, so that's what I have on the more of just Groundhog's Day. But in correlation with all these stories, with all these legends and beliefs from different eras of our time, it all comes back to February 2nd. You know how the groundhog hibernates and he comes out on February 2nd, the in-between time of the winter solstice and the spring equinox, and how he's represented by the death and the dying. In the winter, everything sleeps. In the spring, it starts to awaken. It also goes right along with Bridget, the goddess, She's the goddess of fertility and hope. And, that's awakening, it's awakening with her. And she's the goddess of fire, which is related to the candles and the celebration of the 40 days from the birth of Jesus as well. So you can see how all of this combined in together. And also, with the Germans in the Middle Ages about planting their crops. The end of winter's near. It's very beautiful how all of this correlates together. I hope you enjoyed and you have a blessed day. Bye now.